Okay. So now here, as you can see on the slide, is it visible? The PPT is also visible? Yes. So I have just kind of elucidated for you what are writing skills. Writing skills, first point here, is integral part of communication. It is also an integral part of communication skills. The whole group that we call of communicating, passing on information from ourselves to the others. There's one thing that I want to stress here. What is communication? What do you think is communication? Sorry, you said expressing your views, and sir, what did you say?
Exchange of information.
Exchange, expressing and exchange. There's one very important onus here, responsibility here while we are communicating with others, and that is to be understood in the same sense by the other person or by the listener or the receiver in the way the sender meant to send the message across. Yes? The way you wanted to convey your message, it should be exactly understood in the same way by the one receiving the message. And usually there's a gap, and this leads to miscommunication. Yes? And we on our end, being the one originating the communication, being the one sending out the communication, the more responsibility lies with us that we should not allow any scope for such a confusion to creep up. Because the listener or the receiver can take in the communication in any which way adequate and comfortable for him or her. But for us, we are the ones who are communicating, who are the origins of this communication. So we should ensure that there is no discrepancy in understanding. Okay? And while we are writing, communication skills include oral communication, verbal communication, body language also is a part of communication, which is neither verbal, it is non-verbal. Writing skills are also a part of communication skills. While we are writing, the more responsibility lies with us. Even more, I feel, than rather than while we are speaking orally. Why? Because the spoken word can be lost in air. Until unless it's a recording going on. Like suppose right now there's a recording going on of me. Yes, whatever words I'm speaking, they are being recorded for future reference. But the written word is definitely recorded until unless it is destroyed. But it is recorded for that period of time. So we have to be very careful about our written skills, about our written communication. Yes. So I've here elucidated the three parts or three features of writing skills, which are integral part of communication skills. There cannot be communication without a written communication. Sometimes it is mandatory. Even in offices, it is not sometimes always mandatory to communicate in the written form. Yes. It aids in the transfer of information. Obviously, information is disseminated amongst all the people. One origin providing information to so many sources. Like right now it's happening. Yes? Then recording the information. The information is recorded. It is preserved in the way and manner it was presented or it was given out. So this is the importance of writing skills. So these are in a way indelible marks, unchangeable. You cannot change or retract what you've written. You will have to explain it or otherwise add new dimension to what you've written. So writing has to be very well developed. It has to follow all the tenets of grammar, of propriety and custom for it to be beneficial for the one who's originating the communication, the written communication. Is everybody with me till now? Yes? Yes? Let's move ahead to the next slide. Importance of writing skills. This is somewhat overlapping on what I did. Effective tool of communication. जो किसी ने कोई बात कही है, it can be understood in any which way. But when I put a comma in writing, I take a pause while speaking. A comma is much well received by the receptor rather than a pause which is listened to by an audience. Yes, so that is how even a small dot or a comma makes my communication much more effective. So this is a very strong tool in our hands. Not only the words that we use. Okay, we have heard that pens are mightier than sword. We've heard this. There is a reason, there's a logic behind this. Karl Marx brought about revolution in the whole of Russia with his writing only. Then later on he went on to giving speeches and all. We know it. It is an established rule. So even a small mark leaves an indelible impression on the reader rather than the pause, which can be overlooked by the audience. Yes? Next, it is a tool of influencing others. Writing is a tool of influencing others. You can very well influence others, and being teachers, I hope that you know the might of your words. The notes you have, usually you have, sir, students cramming up to you, sir, notes de dete aaj iske lecture ke de do please. Yes, है ना? We have so many students. Why? You tell them, why were you not there present? You were physically present during my class just now, during my session just now. Why are you asking for my notes? Why did you not take them down then? See, so the students also feel that there is a gap in what you are saying and how they are understanding what you are trying to convey to them. So they feel more reassured that the whole information will be transferred to them by you via the notes, via the written material. Yes, so that is how it is a tool of influencing others. You can dictate as to how much information you are going to give out and how it should be understood by the other person. It's a ladder to success. Obviously, when you're controlling others, you're definitely going up the ladder. You're definitely controlling their responses and reaction to what you disseminate. आप जो इंफॉर्मेशन स्प्रेड कर रहे हैं, जो सूचना आप दे रहे हैं, जो जानकारी आप दे रहे हैं, अगर उससे दूसरे को आप इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकते हैं पॉजिटिवली और नेगेटिवली इन योर फेवर or to your disadvantage, definitely you are going up that ladder to success. If I come across a piece of writing which is very well written, even before I've met that person, I have a very good image of that person in my mind. Isn't it? And once I meet that person, maybe that image that I have in my mind, that person in reality does not measure up to it. But still, he would not fall one notch below than his real self, because I have been influenced by his piece of writing. I know definitely maybe this person is an introvert. Maybe he does not have such good interpersonal skills, but definitely there's no dearth of knowledge. क्योंकि मैंने इनका लिखा हुआ piece देखा है. Yes? So that is, so we people, especially I feel those who've been involved in long, tedious hours of studies, especially in a field like technical education, they've had less time to expose themselves to other experiences. I am not being opinionated or prejudiced here. This is just through because of my, interactions with various people. I have had interactions with creative people also as I go to NIFT, and I've had interactions with purely technical people also, like chemical engineers from UICET. I feel that there's a whole lot of difference in their personality. Each one is good in their own space. They are successful people in their own space, but I feel there's a whole difference in their being introverts and extroverts. Yes, the way they interpersonal skills, the way they express themselves, that difference does not harbor on technical education. That is on their interactions with others, and especially in your field where there has been such limited opportunity to interact with others because your study was so technical and tedious. Your personality in way of verbal communication or interpersonal skills is still a little bit lacking, but you can make up for it by possessing immaculate writing skills. If you can write very well, if your writing can be that influential, it is technically correct, technically I mean grammatically correct, and you know the use of words. I'm not saying heavy words. Use of words, appropriate words, then whatever you feel is lacking in interpersonal interaction like this can be made up through your writing. That is how you influence others, and it becomes a ladder to success. Then it's a mark of a well-developed personality. Obviously, a well-developed personality should have all the skills in an adequate balance. Not only should you be able to interact with others face-to-face well, not only should you be turned out very well or well-groomed at all times, but you should be able to write well as well. You might be required to, like for me, I go and conduct sessions. I am also required to give out instruction materials at time, like I have given out today. So it would not be suffice of me as an expert to come and give you any kind of education or any kind of instructions if I cannot prepare written notes for you. Yes, so that is why it is it is a part of a very well developed personality. I hope everybody is with me on this. Yes. Now next I'm going to discuss how we can develop these writing skills, and then a few correspondences or few tools of writing communication which I feel that all of you might be using on a daily basis. Okay. First is knowledge of grammar. We have been taught grammar in schools. Okay, but there are few things that I would want to point out while using grammar. And first thing that I want to dwell upon is mm, in grammar is subject verb agreement. How many of you are well conversant with this topic, subject verb agreement? What am I talking about? Nahin.
How should be subject verb placed in a sentence?
Okay.
There are so many rules.
Okay, I'll just use the board here. Just in case it's not visible, let me know. Okay? All right? So what is subject in English grammar?
The person who is doing something.
Yes, very correctly said. So ma'am, subject, I'm writing the short form. Is it visible to the people at the back? Last row? आपको दिख रहा है ये? Yes? I'm writing short form. Subject is the noun or the pronoun which is the doer of the verb. Okay. We cannot change the doer of the verb. वो तो हमें पता है कि activity कौन कर रहा है. That we know. But the verb can agree with the subject. For this, there's a very simple rule. There are, reams of paper written about subject-verb agreement, but there's a very simple rule which I have developed and have learned by it, and it never fails me. That's called rule of S. Between the subject and the verb, S has to come. Okay? Between the subject, is it visible at the back? Yes? Between the subject and the verb, S has to come. First point is S has to come. I'll tell you how S comes. And then it can come only once. It has to come, but only once. Okay, I'll make a table on this side so that it's visible to those at the back. But it should have come here. It is in continuation with that. I write subject here, I write verb here. When I say my subject has S, that means my subject is plural. It may or may not have S in its spellings, like children, like men. But when I say subject has S, it means the subject is plural. Okay? In some cases, it might be hidden. But I am taking an example where S is visible. Boys. Yes, everybody is with me till now? Yes? Okay. So what happens? My verb, I told you, S has to come and it will come only once. So it has already come here. I just take up a random verb and my S will not come here. Eat. Okay? The same way, in the second instance, when my subject has no S, it is irrespective of the fact whether there is an S in the spellings or not. It is singular, boy, which is singular. Now the verb has to have an S because S has to come once. So S is reflected here in the verb. This is a singular verb with an S. Okay, in the verb the S is reflected in the spellings. In the subject, the S is reflected in its being plural or singular. Now the whole ball game, this is clear, rule of S?
Yes.
Now the whole ball game lies in realizing when my subject is singular and when my subject is plural. Yes? Okay, I'll give you an example. Two sentences I'm going to speak here. I want you to listen to them very carefully. The committee has chosen its president. Okay? The committee have not passed the bill due to division of opinions.
That in first committee is singular, but in second one this is plural.
Huh.
There should be difference between has and has.
I have said that only. In the first I said the committee has chosen its president, singular, and so the verb has an S because singular has no S. Singular subject has no S. Second sentence, the committee have not passed the bill due to difference of opinions or division of opinions. I have used have here, which is a plural verb. But the same subject is there, the committee. Subject to वही है, कर्ता वही है, the committee. Why is there this difference? And are both these sentences correct first? Let us first see this. Are both the sentences correct? Yes. So why, when the subject is same, why is there a difference in the verb then?
That in first sentence committee is working as a group, which is taken as singular.
Yes.
But in second sentence committee is working as individuals. Because it is divided.
Yes. So I am showing difference within a group. I am showing bifurcation within a group. The committee is a collective noun. We are usually taught that a collective noun always takes up a singular verb. But it is not so. Like ma'am pointed out correctly. If there are divisions or bifurcations within that collective noun, then that collective noun will take up a plural verb. Okay? The crew is on board the ship. The crew were taken prisoners. The crew of a ship does not have one singular head, a pair of arms, so that they can be caged or imprisoned together. They are made up of different individuals, so they have to be handcuffed individually and probably put in cells separately, or maybe 2 or 3 together. So I am talking about bifurcations within the group. So this is when I have to apply the rule of grammar. Another rule of grammar that I want to talk about here is neither nor, either or. I am talking about two choices. Either tea or coffee will do for me. Neither tea nor coffee will do for me. I have used here future tense. I want to use here present tense, and let me see if there's a change in singular plural. Neither tea nor coffee is preferred by me. Either tea or coffee is preferred by me. In both these cases, I am using is, which is a singular verb. But in the subject, I am talking about two things, tea and coffee. Why so?
Verb is according to
Nearest subject.
No.
both are negative. In first sentence, both are negative.
And the second?
Both are positive.
No. So, yes.
When we are selecting one out of
Yes. Either one, दोनों में से एक या दोनों में से एक भी नहीं. Equivalent or the remainder is one. Okay? That is why the subject, despite two choices, becomes singular and it takes up a singular verb. I can use either or, neither nor only when I am faced with two choices. And when one of the two choices is favorable, I'll use either or. And when not even one out of the two choices is favorable or acceptable to me, I will use neither nor. It is a negative coordinating conjunction. Okay? I want to also take up the example here of each, every. Each hour and each day brings its responsibilities. Each hour and each day brings its responsibilities. I am talking about hour and day, two separate things. Brings क्यों डाला मैंने? This is correct. Why have I put brings here? Why? Because I have appended or prefixed the word each, every. It boils down to हर एक. It boils down to one. So the subject becomes singular, which takes up a singular verb. Understood? Okay. There's one more thing that I want to talk about here. We all have heard of the proverb, slow and steady wins the race.
Yes.
And also, early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy and wise. Two things I'm talking about. Early to bed, early to rise. Makes, why a singular verb here? Slow and steady wins. Two things, slow, steady, yet singular verb wins. What's the reason? No. I have avoided slow and steady. I have avoided person or whatever.
It is a factual term, established term.
No, let me interpret it in this way, that it is one idea. If you just go early to bed and rise late, you cannot be, healthy, wealthy, and wise. You cannot be, definitely, because you'll be lazy, then you'll not work so much, and you'll not be wealthy, and definitely you're going to suffer because of that. If you just sleep early and get up late, early to bed but late to rise, then also you're not going to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. So these two things have to coexist. It is one idea. Just by being slow and not being steady, not being persistent in your efforts, kabhi kar liya kaam, kabhi nahi kiya, you're not going to win the race. Just by being steady but sometimes building up the tempo and other times lagging behind, you're not going to win the race, because you're going to deplete your energies. Yes, so we have situations where we express one idea. The rise and fall of the tide is influenced by the size of the moon. The waxing and waning of the moon is influenced. The rise and the fall. Two things, two phenomena I'm talking about. The rise and the fall. Obviously, the tide that has risen will definitely fall, and once it has fallen, it will collect into another tide, rise of a tide. Okay, so whenever I'm talking about one idea and two separate things in that idea, but they have to coexist to be true, then it is a singular subject. These are the things while writing that we forget. Another thing very important that I want to point out here is in subject verb agreement, one idea each and every. Yes, here somebody said that the verb agrees to the subject it is nearest to. Yes, the verb agrees in person and in number. Okay, it will agree in person and in number to the subject it is nearest to. Now this, for this I can give an example. Ram, no, as that is conjunction, that I'm going to come to later on. Ram and I are going to the market.
Right.
Either Ram or I am going to the market, or best way to write such sentences, either Ram is or I am going to the market. Did you get the difference? What I was trying to stress? The helping verb has changed according to the person of the subject. Although I said either or, neither nor लगाने से singular हो जाता है, but it will still agree with the subject it is nearest to. Okay. Now here somebody pointed out as well as. I can say, I can say a similar sentence in many ways, like Ram and Sham have come. Okay. I can also say it, Ram as well as Sham has come. Have come, has come, but in both the sentences I'm talking about two people coming, Ram and Sham. What is the difference? Why have I changed the plural verb to singular verb in the second sentence?
I mean, first sentence, Ram and Sham both are coming together.
Yes.
In that case, Ram is coming and Sham is following him.
Yes, definitely. Ram as well as Sham. So Sham is along with. So when I change, instead of and, I use the conjunction as well as, along with, together with, and with. Though I am talking about two people coming or set of two people coming, but when I use these conjunctions which I mentioned later on, my subject is singular, it will take up a singular verb. We should pay attention to that. And then when do I use this? Ram के साथ शाम भी आया है. Okay, Ram Sham ke saath aaya hai. When I want to stress upon the importance of one subject, of one person out of the two, then I'll put that subject first and then use these kind of conjunctions that are pointed out, and then the second subject, showing that subject, the one who's coming later, to be following, to be lesser in eminence or importance. Okay, this is what I wanted to do about subject verb agreement, which is the basis of sentence formation in English. Let me come to tenses. I'll give you an example. Quickly, I want to do this. I am having a car. I have a car. Are both these sentences correct?
No. The second sentence is correct.
I have a car is correct. Why is I am having a car not correct? How many of you feel that I am having a car is also correct? You feel so it's correct? Who else? Yes. So can you give me the reason, sir? Why do you think this is
I am
correct?
having a car. That means I am having. I am not lost into it.
ओके इसको हिंदी में बोल दीजिए सर, क्या सोचते हैं? आई एम हैविंग अ कार हिंदी में क्या मतलब है? मेरे पास कार है,
मेरे पास कार है, अगर आप इसको हिंदी में अगर उसका टेंस के रूप में देखेंगे तो कोई मीनिंग नहीं मिलता, इसका हिंदी बन नहीं सकता।
निकल
मेरे
जाएगा
पास
कार से जा रहा
कार है, सही है, मतलब उस टेंस में आ जाएगा। अदरवाइज इंग्लिश में देखेंगे तो हैविंग मींस अभी है वो।
सर वो
It has not gone, it has not wasted, it has not lost. So that means it is.
एंड इफ आई जस्ट से आई हैव अ कार, इसका मतलब ये है कि अभी है, बाद में नहीं होगी, या कुछ ऐसा कर है उसका मीनिंग जो आप कन्वे करना चाह रहे हैं. व्हाट यू आर ट्राइंग टू कन्वे बाय सेइंग दैट आई एम हैविंग अ कार मींस दिस. इज इट नॉट कन्वेड बाय सेइंग आई हैव अ कार?
Yes.
Same thing is conveyed. Yet I am saying the first sentence is incorrect, sir. Why? Because when having is used in its main form with present participle, it becomes eating or consuming. We usually make that mistake while speaking. And even in speaking, this is not acceptable. Even though there are different set of rules for spoken English and for written English, but even while speaking, you cannot say I'm having a car, I'm having a flat in the city, I own a flat. When do we use simple tense? We use simple tense when I'm talking about daily routine activities of the past, present or future, or about my habits of past, present or future. So this is going to be with me. The car is with me now. It is going to be with me after a few days. It is going to be with me forever. So this is a simple sentence, simple tense sentence. I don't need to convert it into continuous. When do I use continuous tense? When the action is repeating. बहुत दिनों से बारिश हो रही है, क्या इसको मैं इंग्लिश में कह सकती हूँ? It is raining. That sense is not conveyed. That sense is not conveyed. बहुत दिनों से बारिश हो रही is not conveyed when I say it is raining. Yes. So continuous tense is only used when I'm talking about short duration activities. When I know when that activity started, when it will end, or it is going to end in some point in time now, I will use continuous tense. But when I want to talk about activity which has no time limit fixed to it, began long ago, I do not know when it is going to end, I use perfect continuous tense with a time reference. Time reference is given through since or for. When do I use for time reference? कैसा time का reference देती हूँ मैं for use करके?
When we don't
point
know
of time.
about actual time,
When it is approximate, for years.
since should be for point of time.
Yes, since is an exact point of time. What are exact points in time? Meal times in a day, days of the week, festivals even, dates, time, 4 o'clock, 4:30 p.m. These are your fixed times. You can say since morning. Okay? You can say since spring. Even the seasons are fixed points in time. They are, since Diwali, I have been staying in Chandigarh, a festival, okay, since month. But when the duration is not fixed, I will use for that. Okay. When do I use perfect tense? Perfect tense is used when the action is finished, completed, and I use the third form of the verb in it, which is also called past participle. And we usually do not have doubts in it. I just wanted to clarify when to use continuous and when to use perfect continuous. Please do not use perfect continuous ever without a time reference. Okay. I want to come to pronouns. Very important thing. Then I'll finish off with grammar. Pronouns. We know how many personal pronouns are there in English grammar? 3. Yes. May I know their details also, names also, sir? Please sit and tell me. Okay, thank you. Sit down. Okay, something like that. First person, second person, third person.
I, my, me.
Huh? I, my, me? No. My, me and myself, everything. First person. First person is the speaker. Okay. I will write down the table here, and because I would classify into subject and object. We have not done object. What is object in English grammar?
On which effect will
Yes, the verb is, it is affected by the verb. I cut an apple. I is the subject here because the verb cut is being done by me. Yes, and who is being, or what is being affected by this action?
Apple.
An apple. The determiner is also included, but we are not going into the technicalities because we are not going to teach English grammar. We are just going to use English to write it well. Okay, so now I'm going to divide these pronouns into subject and object. We know what subject is, what object is. I hope it is visible at the back. Yes? Yes? Okay. First person is the speaker. Like right now, I'm the one who's hogging the limelight and speaking so much. Rarely am I giving you a chance to speak. Yes? So first person is the speaker, singular I, plural we. When it's the subject in the sentence. Subject means doing the work. Okay? When it is being affected by the verb, it becomes me or us. Yes? You remains you, and we usually treat you as, not usually, we definitely treat you as plural. You both, you all. I can specify it like this, you three. Next is, second person is the listener, which you are doing right now. You are in this category right now, listener. Okay. Then we have third person. It is that person who is not present in the conversation but is the topic of the conversation, is being talked about. It includes pronouns like he, she, it for singular, and for plural we have they. When it becomes the object, it becomes him, her, it, and them. I hope everybody's got it because I'm speaking quite loudly. I'm trying to write bigger, but then it would move very downwards and won't be visible at the back. These are three personal pronouns in English grammar. This is how their forms are in subject and in object. Now, does anybody know the sequence of pronouns? How are they to be used in English while writing? Can anybody tell me the sequence?
Depending on the conditions, sometimes when we point out the fault or something, then it should be first, second, and third. And sometimes it should be two, three, second, third, and one. Then for the sentence.
You, the second, third, and fourth.
Yes, it should always be, whatever the case may be. I always pay respect to my audience. अपना time निकाल के आप बैठे हो, trying to focus, you're trying to listen to me, giving me so much of your energy. So definitely I give you respect, and that is why always I'm writing it here so that you can see it. Second person will always come first when I'm talking about all the three persons in the sentence. Then comes the other person who is not a part of the conversation but a topic of the conversation, that is the third person, and in the end it will be the first person, because I am not so I'm not so narcissist to give so much of importance to myself. I am a humble being, that is why I place myself towards the end. Okay, like you were saying, if I want to point out,
I said so, but something in food like he has like you went to jail because of me and him. In this sense, first, second, and third.
no, even if you want to say you went to jail because of me and him, I am going to say this: you went to jail because of him and me. It was because of me mostly and then him. If I have to specify it like this, that you cannot just say just because I'm placed first, me is placed first, the onus or the responsibility lies more with me. That you'll have to specify with the usage of words in the sentence. Me most, or more because of me than him.
Okay, so according to manners and respect, always try to take the
negative activities
with first motion.
Always do this. And then you can place onus, like you're saying onus, then you place onus on yourself through use of words.
I just so that in credit that should be
Like this.
and in name it should be one.
No, don't do it like that, because this has been tweaked by American English. Don't do that. Let's follow the basic principles of English grammar laid down in Brendan Martin very clearly. Just let us follow that. You want to specify it, please specify it by the usage of words. Okay? So even if, suppose this is the sequence, even if this third person is not there, still follow this sequence. Second and first. First person is not there, second and third. Okay? Second person is not there, third and first. Okay, the sequence remains unchanged. Okay, I want to point out a sentence here. My friend and me are going to the market. Is this sentence correct? Yes, sir?
Yes.
Yes?
I.
Yes? No, ma'am. Why?
I think it should be my friend and I.
I.
Yes. Why? Why should it be my friend and I? Who can point it out?
Ma'am.
Yes, both are subjects. I here is coming, going to the market. कौन कौन कर रहा है? मेरा friend और मैं. I am the doer of the verb. When I am the doer of the verb, I become I. Yes? So my friend and I are going to the market. There's one more thing that I would like to point out just for your reference. Suppose there's a question, who is at the door? And you are at the door and you answer, it is I/me. What will it be? It should be, it is I. Who's doing the work of standing at the door? Ringing the bell? Me, I'm doing this. I'm the doer. When I'm the doer of the work, when I'm the subject, my form is I, not me. Yes, sir? So it should be, it is I. We usually make these mistakes. This is still, interchange between I and me is still acceptable in spoken English, but definitely not acceptable in written English. These are the small nuances of grammar that you should take care of while writing. Okay, little bit of tenses, correct usage, not heavy-handed rules regarding clauses, nothing like that. I'm not asking you to brush up your knowledge and memorize books of grammar, but just this basic knowledge of grammar. Then a rich vocabulary. How can we build a rich vocabulary? Dictionary?
Reading newspaper.
By reading newspaper?
We use them in daily way, right?
Sorry, ma'am, what did you say? Use what?
By practice.
By practicing. I advise that you can build up a good vocabulary of any language when you start using that language in your pleasure time activities. If you are using English only for reading material that you feel that you should, but not what you want to read, then you are not going to retain that language. Please start, if you want to learn English for that example, like I want to learn Punjabi, so I'll replace, my leisure time activities with Punjabi. But suppose I want to learn English, what do? My leisure time activities like reading a book, a novel, a magazine, watching television, watching news, I replace these activities with English language. Because whatever I do for pleasure for my own self, I retain more, in a more relaxed state of mind. And I can build up my vocabulary only when I read a word in context. उसके आसपास के टेक्स्ट को मैं देखती हूँ. डिक्शनरी पढ़ने से मेरी वोकैबुलरी नहीं बढ़ेगी, कभी भी नहीं बढ़ेगी, बढ़ ही नहीं सकती. अगर आप सोचे आप डिक्शनरी के रोज एक पेज कर लें, इतने सारे उसमें वर्ड्स हैं, मेमोराइज कर लें, इसकी प्रोनाउंसिएशन भी आ गई. नो, यू कैन नॉट. You should know how to use that word in the context, how it has been used. The word changes, like the word, for example, very simple word like station. A car has been stationed outside my house since last night. Okay, and then I say station. The railway station is quite far off from my house. In the first instance, I made a verb out of the word. Yes, in the second, it is a noun. I learned how to use that word in various contexts by reading about it. And practicing. How do you practice? How do you practice? Somebody said practicing from here. कैसे practice करेंगे? Okay. I would suggest there's another very important technique of practicing, that is stand in front of the mirror and start practicing normal questions. We usually advise students like questions to practice should be the ones they think or they anticipate can be asked of them in normal course of life while interacting with others, or if they are going to appear for a personal interview, what are those questions? So the two things are happening, killing two birds with one arrow, with a single arrow they are doing. Stand in front of the mirror, think of a response which should have been memorized by you, and then you deliver it in front of the mirror. Look at yourself, look at your facial expressions. Are you mumbling? Are you fumbling? Are you stammering in between? Are you lost in between? Record that thing. Record that speech in your mobile. Everybody has it. Replay it. Note down where are you faltering. Then again practice it. That is how you build up your writing and reading and speaking skills. Then reading. As I just pointed out, reading for leisure. Read as much as you can. Okay, and most importantly, I advise to read blogs of your field of education or your field of profession. Read blogs because they have been put up by untrained people also. So certain blogs which are very famous, they have been put up by untrained writers, and they catch the pulse of the mass, the audience. What is it in their writing? There are no heavy use of words, but the expression, the way they manage to convey exactly what they want to convey through the placement of the same normal words here and there. That you should be able to pick up, and the largest variety of it is through blogs. Okay. Next is regular practice. I told you techniques of practicing. Then review of your work. Whenever you write something, please get it reviewed by somebody else. Ask your friend to review it. Ask somebody who is a little lower than you in that language to review your work. Because has that person understood? क्या उसको भी समझ आ गया जिसको इतनी इंग्लिश नहीं आती है? क्या should I continue with the session? No. हाँ? So क्या उसको भी समझ में आता है? I'm not taking your expert advice. I've taken her advice and continuing with it. Okay. Thank you for advising me, although.
All the sentences have been disconnected.
I know. That is why I was asking, because it would be lost to them. And then also get your work reviewed by somebody who's at a higher level than you. Higher level in the meaning that higher level in language. What do they think? Can they suggest changes in it? Can they suggest tweaking of the script a little bit? Is the letter written correctly? Does it convey whatever you want to convey, or does it convey otherwise? Okay, so that is how you practice your writing skills. Now I want to start off with a few techniques of writing. Should I do that now, or should I wait?
Yes, ma'am. All the center is connected.
Yeah, connected. Okay. Now let's talk about template of a meeting agenda. How many of you have formulated agendas for a meeting? Ever? No?
Never.
Never. Okay. Do you want me to go to something else first? Because I also have a template for writing official letters, and I have given an exercise on writing an official letter in the exercises that I've put up. If you want, I can go there first. Yes? Letters or agendas? Letters? Letters. Okay. How is an official letter different from a personal letter?
I think official letter there should be memo number.
Okay, there should be memo number. I suggest like reference number. Memo is what is the difference between a letter or a memo? Is there a difference between an official letter and a memo or memorandum? जी सर, किसने बोला? किसने बोला है? एकदम सही बोला है. यस सर, ज्ञापन. और लेटर इज पत्र. अब इसका क्या डिफरेंस है, आप बताइए. वेरी गुड. यस, a letter is meant for a specific recipient. Yes. So what you were pointing out, memo number, we can have a reference number in official letters, whereas memo number is only meant for memorandums. Okay. A memorandum is written on a letterhead, and so is an official letter written on a letterhead, but the letterheads are different. A memorandum is circulated within the organization, so I don't need to have the entire address of the organization on that letterhead. At the most, memorandums would just have the name of the organization and the branch, the city where they are. Okay, and then there is from, to, sub, date, and then we have re or subject. These are the 4 columns that appear in a memorandum, and a clear line goes across the page. And then below that we have 2 or 3 paragraphs which communicate the information that has to be communicated. Memorandum is an open letter circulated within the organization for the information of all the people in the organization. There is one particular type of memorandum that you might have heard and which I think is of importance, that is note to file. Have you heard of it? Note to file और मेमोज टू फाइल. ये जब हम किसी को कोई सीनियर पब्लिक वार्निंग दे रहा है ना, तब वो नोट टू फाइल या मेमो टू फाइल हो जाता है, सो दैट एवरीबडी इन द ऑफिस इज अवेयर दैट सच काइंड ऑफ मिसबिहेवियर, सच काइंड ऑफ lack in conduct is not going to be tolerated professionally within the organization. A precedent is set. and it is written on the memorandum. There is a title after the letterhead, the name of the organization and just the city. There is memorandum, the title that runs across the sheet towards the center. Okay. Instead of that, it can be note to file or memorandum to file. So that means it's a warning for everybody. That is important. Then we have 2 or 3 paragraphs below the memorandum. What is the first paragraph dealing with in a memorandum? And it is the same which deals with in a letter. Okay, let me come to that later. Let's first look at the template of an official letter. It has sender's address. How do we put sender's address? We do not put the name. We either put the designation, the name of the organization, the complete address including whatever number it is, and the name of the street, the city, and also the pin code. In official letters, we also put the pin code. The reference number can come across from sender's address, or it can come at the top of sender's address, because the reference number is also very important. It follows that line of communication, that thread of communication कि उसी letter के reference में वो ही follow हो रहा है. Now I said pin code also is important. Why? Because the address is going to be taken up from there, so that the information is finally, or the reply or the subsequent letter is sent to you, dispatched through you by taking up that address. And through traditional mail pin code, when we have pin code, it travels faster. So please find out your own pin code and put it there. Okay. There should be no punctuation marks towards the end. There are no punctuation marks. There should be no punctuation mark like comma or full stop towards the end. The entire text is aligned towards the left side, and it's a straight margin. It's an imaginary margin which is 1 or 1.5 inch away from the left side of the sheet. Okay. We leave a line and we write the date. There is no need to write date, colon, and then the date. Straight away write the date. Okay. You can follow the American style or the British style of writing the date, which can be written as 28th November. Don't write Nov. November, comma 2013, no full stop. Okay. Or you can write November 28, comma 2013, no full stop. No punctuation towards the end. No punctuation at the end will come. Then again leave a line and write receiver's address, which is the same as sender's address. Designation should be mentioned first, then the organization, their complete address with the pin code. There's no need to give email, fax, वगैरह वगैरह here. There's no need, because obviously the receiver knows his email, fax, and all those numbers. Don't need to give that. Then comes the subject. Leave a line, write the subject. Subject is like the title to the letter. It is very important, because it might be read, rather than the chief or the person who's at a very high position, it might be read by his assistants. If they sort out the mail for them. If you have written something in the content, you've skipped the subject, they may or may not understand how to classify this mail. Whether it is urgent, priority, or it can be taken up later, that will be decided by the subject. So don't ever give up on subject. Please do not ever write subject in all capital letters. The subject can be of 4 to 5 words, each word beginning with a capital letter, except for prepositions, conjunctions, and articles coming in between. Leave of absence. So of ka O chota rahega, L and A will be in caps. Okay. You will not have leave also in all capital, OF also all capital. No, that is shouting for attention. Leave a line and then you address dear Mr. or Miss. Please do not write Mrs. Do not write Miss. Even if you know the marital status. Why? Because feminist or otherwise, it is considered that there should be a parity. When with Mr. we do not come to know the marital status, the age of the person, the man involved, and why should it be disclosed by the title we are sending to a lady? That is why we have done away with Mrs. and Miss. In official communication, this is must. And then I have written down the name. Write down the whole complete name, first name and second name, or just the first name or just the second name, as the case may be. I will use dear, not respected. Never ever. I will use respected. If I am close to that person, although professionally, I will use dear. If I have been dealing with that person, my association has been of a long period, then I can use dear. Otherwise, I will just refer to them as Mr. or Ms. ABC. Or I can just say sir or madam. I can even say dear sir or dear madam. Please do not say ma'am. Okay, I want you to avoid using apostrophes. Once this has been done, let's move on to the next part. The first paragraph. The first paragraph always talks about the purpose. Why are you writing this letter? The same way, the first paragraph of a memorandum also talks about the purpose of having written the memorandum. Okay, now the first paragraph in an official letter is a little longer than the second paragraph. Please write the first paragraph in complete sentences. Do not include bullets here in the first paragraph in purpose. Why? मैंने ये letter इस वजह से लिखा है. That you are giving too much of importance to yourself. That is why you are highlighting these purposes by putting bullets. No, write them in sentences. Let them read. Then second paragraph, which I advise should be shorter in an official letter. Why? Because action required. What is the help that you want from the other person जिनको आप लिख रहे हैं? The receiver. What is the help that you want from them? You cannot ask for much. You might offend that person, irritate that person, and finally break the line of communication forever for good. Yes? So ask for only two things and please bullet them so that the person can read it, retain it, and be sure of it. There is no confusion. Sometimes writing long sentences, making it sound formal, the language becomes very flowery and the whole sense is lost. If we write small bullet points, the sense is not lost. They are crisp phrases which are easily understood and retained also. Pictographically भी retain हो जाता है जो bullets में रहता है. तभी हम PPTs भी ऐसी बनाते हैं. Yes, pictographically retain होना ज़्यादा आसान है. If I had written instead of everything I'd filled up, yes, it would have been very difficult for you to retain and understand and read. Same way. Okay, then we have subscription. Suppose you've asked for something, you leave a line. Suppose you've asked for something, then you say thank you. Thank you is a phrase. There's no comma or full stop after it. If you've supplied some information or you just want to inform them of something, with best regards or with warm regards, you can sign off with that phrase, with best regards or with warm regards. Only W, which comes in the beginning with, for with, will be capital. Rest all will begin with small letters. Sometimes people write with capital, best ka B capital, regards ka R capital. No, it's a phrase. Okay, no full stop, no comma after it. Leave a line, sign your name, and below it within brackets there should be your typed name. Okay, if there are enclosures with it, you mention that. Definitely mention that in the paragraph. The information supplied by you, asked by you, has been supplied. That is mentioned in the purpose. And also say that the enclosures are there. And please mention your enclosures like these. Leave a line, mention them 1, 2, 3, so that the person knows that how many enclosures are there. Give an appropriate name to your enclosure, so that when with the letter the enclosures are attached, they can count. 3 bole and 3 I. If while opening by their by their personal assistant, or while dispatching by you, while packing up the letter, binding it all together, you might have not slipped off an enclosure. So they confirm it before much time is lost. Okay. The same principle applies to email etiquette. How many of you have to send out emails, official emails here? Just 1, 2, 3. Anybody else? Never ever? Are you aware of email etiquettes? No, I think I'll use the board here. There are certain nuances of email because email is of new origin. It's a recent development, so there's still a lack of clarity about how to use an email, how to write it. First thing, the difference between an email and a letter is email is not a letter written or sent through electronic mail. There's a lot of difference, hell lot of a difference between an email and a letter. Email always has to be shorter. Email will always be shorter. There will be more white space visible in your screen when you're writing an email. You cannot have sentences so long, or you cannot have chunks of material, chunks of text. Break down the text so that it is easier on the eyes of the reader to read. Yours is not the only email that a person is going to read throughout the course of the day. Okay, might be the second or third तक में भी ban बच जाती है email पढ़ना. If it's an official email, so you have to be very particular about each and every word. It is very difficult, to read like this. It's easier to read like this. Yes, so we have to take care of that. White space should be more. Shorter sentences, easier words. Okay, besides the text, the language, there are things that we should take care of. CC, BCC. What is the meaning of CC? And BCC? Carbon copy and blank.
CC.
CC, sir, is carbon copy. I know it as carbon copy.
We say it's
Courtesy copy because you're sending an extra copy. BCC is blank carbon copy. I advise you never to use BCC for official emails. Why? Because the other recipients, even the main recipient of your email, will not know who all have received this email through blank carbon copy. Communication in an office should always be open, so that your tracks are also covered. You are not in a soup, and also you are not the one, fostering discrepancy in communication. And also everybody should know to who all this has been communicated. You should not even BCC to the boss. It looks very bad, tells very bad on your image, your ethics, work ethics. Never ever do BCC. Okay? How do you place your recipients? Always place the senior most person as the main recipient. चाहे उनसे ताल्लुक रखता है कि नहीं रखता है. This mail has to be in his knowledge, so he's the main recipient. Even though it is going to be read by the assistant director or the next in line, mainly asked by him, but still I'm going to keep him as the main recipient. Okay. Subject, you can follow the same line. You can follow reply. If suppose you're giving out replies, when we say you get an email and you reply, the subject remains the same. Yes, you can follow that same line of conversation or communication if it pertains to the same matter. If within the same organization, same department, between the same receivers and senders, the communication is on a different topic, please compose a fresh email with a fresh subject. The subject can be exactly the same as that of a written letter. Okay? The same salutation applies, dear sir, dear madam, or dear so-and-so. Same way, you will begin from here, dear, in the body, text body, and then you begin from here. Leave a line and begin from here. You can change the size, font size, but let it be normal. Let it be normal for official communication. आपको मुश्किल हो रही है ना देखने में, आप क्या करें, आप लिख लीजिए large में. कई बार हमें बहुत लिखना पड़ता है. It is difficult for us to make out what we are typing is the same thing that is appearing on the screen. So for your ease and convenience, you change the font size to large. There are 3 settings: small, a normal, large, extra large. Yes. For your convenience, you can change the setting to large, but then before sending it, select all the text and then change the font size to normal. Okay. Never ever do that. Run the email through spell check. Okay. Always, I advise you all to have a different email account for professional usage and for personal usage. So if you are suppose sending a professional email, first send it to your personal email account, check it. How does it look? Do all the attachments open up the same way as they are intended? Sometimes a Word doc or a rich text format file or a PDF file does not attach or does not open up the way it is meant to open up. It conveys something else. It opens up in certain binary, some numbers or something. You can check that by going to your personal email account. Okay? And then shorter paragraph, same purpose, थोड़ा बड़ा हो सकता है और जो आपको एक्शन रिक्वायर्ड है वो थोड़ा छोटा हो सकता है. छोटा होना चाहिए, सकता नहीं होना चाहिए. Again, with best regards, with warm regards or thank you, and you sign off. Please include a signature in your official email account. The signature should have all the contacts numbers. Okay? Have a LinkedIn profile. Have professional profiles like those on LinkedIn. Google Plus, so that you can easily be contacted. It is your work. Easy contact होगा. जितना ऑफिशियल वर्क जल्दी होगा उतना आपके सक्सेस और प्रमोशन वगैरह के चांसेस बेटर रहेंगे. Yes, so you should be easily accessible. Let's have a professional signature in your email account. One more thing, when do you send an email? If it's something urgent, then and there only. It does not matter. If you say that you can be accessed via email even after office hours, and an urgent or high priority email has come to you, then please reply to it then and there. Otherwise, send it between the office working hours. The best way to get a response to your email, which you think is going to be difficult, the best way is to send it between the peak times of information giving out. These are between Tuesday and Friday from 11:30 to 1:30. When you send out emails, सबसे ज़्यादा response मिलते हैं. Monday को, Friday evening को, nobody is going to bother to answer your email. Monday morning, they're still worried about the work planned ahead for the week, or they're still getting over their Monday morning blues. Friday evening, they're already looking forward to the weekend off. Okay, so they are not going to bother. इसको अगले हफ्ते ही देखेंगे, मत छिड़ो अभी. Okay, so 11:30 to 1:30. Don't do it after office hours. They have already received the mail to be dealt with after lunch hours. Sorry, not office hours, lunch hours. They've already received the mail. उन्हें before lunch मिल चुका है. वो उस पे वो काम करेंगे post lunch. If you send it post lunch, it will be shifted to the next day. Okay. This is all I wanted to point out about official letters. Any doubts with anybody? Things to remember while writing official letters are format. We are going to follow the modern format, not the traditional format, which I discussed with you. Everything towards the left side of the margin. Yes, no punctuation marks appearing at the end of any line. We are going to leave a line. We are going to show segregation between paragraphs by leaving a line in between the paragraphs. Okay. Punctuation should not be there. The date, I told you how it should be written. Please do not write 27.11.2013. I told you the two ways to write the date. Then receiver's address, how it should be done. Not the name, but the designation should be there. The subject, how it should be written, it's a title. The content also I told you. Purpose first and then the action required to be taken towards the end. Subscription and signing off. Please include your type name below your signature because your signatures can be illegible. Okay, so your type name should be there. Okay. I had planned minutes of a meeting and agenda also for today. Should I take that up? Yes, or is there something else? I have notes on note taking also, note making. How do you prepare your notes? अब तो आप लोग को सब thorough हो गया होगा. So you just go ahead and give your give out your lecture for the day. Is it that, or do you refer to notes? You refer to notes? Yes, yes. This young ones still refer to notes. Like I also refer to notes. I also refer to notes. So there are techniques of making notes. Are you aware of it? Very simpler ways of making notes, but I do not have that on PPT. So I want to take up whatever you are comfortable with. Notes? Is that all right with everybody? Yes? More appropriate? Yes? Okay. Let's take up how to make a note. But that is entirely a separate session altogether. But I feel that this is more appropriate for you. Okay. What is the importance of notes? They help us to abridge all the information in few pointers. What are notes actually? Like the PPT, notes are for you a reference as to how your lecture or your discourse is going to shape up, how it is going to proceed. There are many techniques of making a notes and they are easier. It is easier to follow those techniques and make notes. First of all, you have to decide the main topic. You have a subject that you're going to teach, then within it there's a topic that you're going to teach. Like for today, I have to teach writing skills. So I've decided the main topic, writing skills. Then I gather in what all directions can this go. This topic can go in many directions. Like I have prepared for so many, correspondences, office correspondence. Writing skills can also include writing a short story. It can also include writing a poem. Okay, anything. But now here I'm discussing writing a note, writing notes for yourself. Okay, so that you have to decide first the main topic and what is the course which you want to follow within that topic. Which area of it are you going to touch? Then after that you have to decide the headings, how you are going to classify. How do we decide the headings? We decide the headings whenever certain information can be clubbed together under this name. Then we put that all information in that name, and that's called the main heading. The moment I have a divergence from it, the moment there is a differentiation in the information being passed out, that forms the second heading. I classify my notes into main headings. Then within that I have subheadings. Okay, for this, like I had writing skills, then I had what are the importance of writing skills, how can they be practiced or developed. Then I had what are the techniques, what are the various tools in written communication. That is how I have followed them. Then within the various tools I had subheadings like template, agenda, minute, agenda, official letter, note taking. Okay, note making. Now they should be, once I'm making a heading, subheading, there should be a seamless flow. There should not be a break, even when there are headings. One heading should lead to the other heading. It should lead to the other heading. Okay. The subheadings can form as different smaller parts of the main heading, but still there should be some cohesion. फ्लो होना चाहिए. ऐसे नहीं कि एकदम मैं यहाँ पर आके मैं आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस राइटिंग स्किल्स एंड सडनली आई स्टार्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट राइटिंग अ पोम. No, na. Though that is also a part of writing skills, but I cannot start about talking discoursing about how to write a poem, or how to write a story, or how to write a novel. I cannot, because it is not relevant to the line that I picked up initially. So that cohesion should be there. Once that is there, the next thing that I need to be careful of is that there should not be any duplicacy. ऐसे ना हो कि डुप्लीकेसी हो रही है. अब जैसे मुझे लगा मेमो और लेटर, once I said that memo and letter, they will have the same content. Why should I waste your time and my time and energy in telling you first the same thing for memo and then the same thing for official letter? No, I have avoided the duplicacy also. Overlapping also I have to avoid. Flow from one to other, and also overlapping should be avoided. Okay, now let's quickly come to the various types of techniques for making notes. And mind you, I was also surprised when I first came across this a few years back. There are many techniques. People have researched as to, various diagrams have been developed as to how you can make notes for yourself. Usually notes should be made on cue cards. Has everybody heard of cue cards? No? Okay. Now this is not a cue card. I don't carry cue cards because I'm very clumsy and I drop everything. Cue cards are usually used by actors, players, or actors on theater or a live play or stage. The person who is giving them the cue, he has these kind of short cardboards. Okay, it is ruled and it has something like this. You can put a title here, which is the topic. फिर यहाँ पे उसके headings, आगे points, कुछ भी. कौन सा character, कौन सा play है, कौन सा character है, whose lines are these. That is what cue cards were originally used for, because the person who is going to prompt every actor on the stage with his or her lines needs to know everything. But he is not playing any one character, but still his presence is of vital importance. The same thing can be used by you. Nowadays we have plain cue cards also. Just this size pieces of cardboard, and they will be thick like this, little thicker than this. Okay, this material little thicker, so that they can stand on their own. But this is too thick; you cannot write on this. Yes. Then you can make your notes or diagrams on it. I'm going to tell you what are the various techniques, and they are very easy, fairly easy. I have the same notes. When I'll show you my notes, they also look like that only. Here, my notes also look like that, like this diagrams. Okay, fairly easy for me to understand. ये यहाँ पर है, ये यहाँ पर है, यहाँ पर है. I just take a glimpse at it. Okay, If something slips out of my mind, I just take a glimpse at it. I don't have to read through the entire line. Okay. The first technique is the linear technique. It refers to a line, linear notes. They can be made like this. This is a sheet of paper. Here you can have details of the lecture, the book or the article. Okay, what is the lecture on? Writing skills, and especially pertaining to technical teachers, covering this. I can have it here. Then I will divide the page like this. This is wider than this. This is a wider margin. My main notes go down here. जो मैंने notes बनाने एक के बाद एक. Then I have my major topic written here. Then below it, within bullets, other small topics. And if I review my work, there's something that needs to be added here. I put it here, in this space, with a different colored pencil or pen maybe. That this information is something different. If I want to specifically stress on something that this should not be missed during this lecture, then also I put it down in certain other color so that it is highlighted. Okay. Next technique is keyword trees. And believe me, if you make your notes like this, it is going to be so interesting for you to deliver also. And you will be more than interested in giving out the information. And if students ask for your notes, it will be difficult for them to understand it. I usually made notes like this when I was in college. When I was doing my studies, I usually made notes using this technique. And there were other students who were, because once my notes were stolen by somebody. So once my notes were borrowed, then I learned this technique. Once my notes were borrowed by my fellow peers, they could not understand a word. उसके बाद उन्होंने कभी borrow नहीं किए. एक दो बार मेरे टीचर्स ने मांगे थे कि हाँ हमें ना क्लास में लेक्चर देने के लिए I have forgotten my book or notes. You are the one who's taking down everything. But that I say, can I borrow your notes? She also gave up. She said no. I cannot understand, and I had abbreviations also. This is division. This is divisional. Okay. Then I had, this is for Shan, which most of you use. Then I had multiplying. Most of them could not understand what I am saying here. Okay. Subdivisional officer. Subdivisional officer. Yes. Okay. I said the governmental. This is still understood because we understand government. So these are the abbreviations of codes that you can use for brevity and also for conspicuousness, for hiding it from others. Okay. How to make trees here? Okay. The trees go up like you begin from the roots of the topic. You begin from the beginning. I use this when I am teaching vocabulary. Suppose I am teaching a word like independence. It begins from dependent. Then how does it develop? It goes up till here, till the tip, and it has various branches to it. What are there on the branches? This is the topic thread, which is the main. Uske the first topic aega, major topic. Then it will have its sub points under it. Then second major topic. Then other sub points under it. Till the time I reach the conclusion. Okay. There is space in between here for me to add more information when I come across more information or I review my work later on. I've just given my major topic name, points below it. Major topic name, points below it. How did it all start, originate, and where has it reached now? I can always review and add to them later on. Leave enough space. Okay, next we come mind maps. Mind maps are usually used in advertising. When there's a meeting and somebody is making notes, there's a meeting of creative heads, somebody is noting down what is happening, then mind maps are used because there's a lot of activity of the mind. Suppose you're sitting down in some consultation or some research project or something and you are working with research scholars, you're mentoring them or something. Lot of information is being exchanged. then please use mind maps for such a meeting. How did one idea originate and how did it lead on to the other? The main topic is placed here towards the center, and from it you can make further major topics which can be clubbed together. There's flow that this leads to this leads to this. That is how you show. In this, on this you can put names, causes, reason, names of people who put forth these ideas. What was the cause of this idea leading to this topic? What were the causes? You can put them here. So in brevity, you have the gist of entire 2 hours or 3 hours of meeting, and you're not even writing down all the time. Or if you're preparing notes for yourself based on some text that has to be delivered in the class, you've read the text from 3-4 sources. You've made up a kind of a discourse in your mind. You can present it for yourself on paper like this and then go ahead with it while referring to it. I cannot be reading out from here and delivering. You know it better than me. Reading out from here and delivering it to you, because my audience will not connect with me otherwise. They will be lost. Yes, so I can just about refer to them. So I just have to write main ideas here. Okay. Next is network. It is a very computing inspired name for note making. Usually when there is a discussion on something, cause and effect or evaluation that has to go up, then we use this. There is a topic summary at the top. Then there is a line towards the center. There is one for side and there is the against side. So if you have a lecture on something, benefits or harmful effects, advantages or disadvantages, you can probably make this kind of a presentation of your lecture. Then it will include details. All the details will be given here. Name of the main idea. Whatever is the main idea will be written here, and below it its subpoints. The same way can be here. ये मेन आइडिया है फॉर उसके कन्वर्स एकदम अगेंस्ट क्या मेन आइडिया एग्जैक्टली हियर आई पुट इट एंड दीज आर द पॉइंट्स और आर्ग्यूमेंट्स इन सपोर्ट ऑफ दिस आइडिया the main points or arguments in support of this idea. Okay, this is how you can continue with the entire for and against till your points are there. Okay, last one. It is the fish bowl. Very decorative, and I feel like it's very tedious to maintain also. That is why I put it at the end. Somehow I don't find it that useful. I find this one useful, ego trees, and if I'm discussing for and against, maybe that. Okay, with these two, personally I use that because the linear one is also the same as bulleting and all, it's the same thing. For that also, you have to read through a lot of text. Mind maps is also very restricted to a particular kind of activity, which I generally don't do. I don't discuss my lectures with others. I don't get to do that. But in your case, when you're doing research or some new thing development or some kind of interaction with your students on some problem, then you can use mind map. So the last one is herringbone. Herringbone is the fish's bone. Herringbone technique. It looks like a fish skeleton. That is why it has been named this. There is a main idea at the top. You put the name here. Then there is a line that you draw till the end. From which flows things like questions like who all are going to be there, 2-3 people, what are they going to be doing. So it looks like a fish's skeleton. Then when, where. When you have 2 or 3 equally important options for each topic, then you are going to use this. Equally important. These are choices available in this category. In this category of where, these are the choices available to me of equal importance. Then I am going to use this. Okay? And then there have to be a lot of choices available also. Lot of choices all of equal importance. Then I'm going to use it, and then I end it. Towards the end, I end it. So this looks like a fish's skeleton with bones. That is called herringbone technique of note taking. The whole purpose of note taking should be that no information is left out. So for that, you should have done your research and analysis beforehand, before delivering any lecture. Like I also come, I'm giving the same lecture at so many places. But then every time I come, I go through the material. I look the net. What is the latest development in this? Is it something that I need to update? Then I've provided space everywhere. Yes, and I put it down in separate color or in the same color maybe. I put it down in separate color. Why? Because most of the old information I remember. वो तो मैं इतनी बार बोल बोल के मुझे याद ही है. जो नई information है, so that I don't forget giving it out, I put it in different color that it catches my eye. And I put it across to the audience during the course. You should have done your research and analysis before delivering a lecture. You should have made out a framework on pen and paper in hints and points as to how the course is going to be. What is the direction of your lecture going to be? What all it's going to cover, and what you are definitely not going to cover. So you do not even steer in that direction accidentally. What is not going to be covered, you have to avoid it. Please take care of it. Why? Because the session has to be concise and comprehensive and understandable. If you include something which you did not intend to include initially, even while referring as a passing reference, then the audience will become confused. Then you might even waste that lecture. You will altogether proceed in some other direction. उस चीज को किसी और दिन के लिए रख लीजिए. Let it be for some other day. Okay? And brevity is of essence. Try to include as many witty remarks as you can while delivering your lecture. So, catching the pulse of the audience is very important. Make witty remarks in between. It gives you a breather also, and you can collect your thoughts. The audience can also collect their thoughts. Okay? That is all I wanted to say about note making to deliver a lecture. Okay? Is there anything else that you want to ask me? We are still left with good 15 minutes. Any other tool of written communication that you want to discuss with me? Essay writing? Okay, there is a formula for writing an essay. First tell me, what is the purpose of writing an essay? Why do you want to write an essay, sir? Entrance exam को clear करना है उसके लिए? Yes? Tell me. I'm just asking. You just want to... Okay. Whenever we write something like this, whenever we have a creative piece of composition, which is an essay even, a creative piece of composition, we have to consider gaps. Genre, audience, purpose, style. Genre, audience, purpose, and in this sequence only. Genre. An essay can be critical. An essay can be hilarious commentary. An essay can be an ordinary commentary. An essay can be cause and effect study of a problem. An essay can be advantages and disadvantages of a situation. Okay? Or an essay can be just written out to be informative. New information. Yes? So what is the genre of it? First you have to specify that. Determine that. Once that genre, that mood is determined, who's going to read it? I cannot write the same essay on any topic, let's say nanotechnology. The same essay, or let's say polymers. Polymers are taught in 9th class chemistry. Yes? And they are also taught at university level. But the same content about polymers cannot be applicable for 9th class students or people studying in the university. There's a whole lot of difference. The content, the style, the language changes according to the audience. Then the purpose. Do I want to critically evaluate an already established study? Do I want to add more information? Or do I want to bring out my own, my own facts evaluated or deducted after a research? somebody else's facts, critically evaluating somebody else's fact, or my own new facts being put up out there to be evaluated by anybody. When that has been done, when that purpose has been established, what is the style? Style is also determined to a large extent by the audience. Whether the style has to be formal, informal, comical, rhetoric. Rhetoric is usually we have that rhetoric style in while debating. Where are you? You know, which we are seeing so much. You know, nowadays on television when the Narendra Modi, Anna Hazare, and Arvind Kejriwal, they are all trying to influence people through their rhetoric declamations, through their rhetoric discourses. Okay, we can have that kind of rhetorics also. Shakespeare used the most rhetoric style of writing. Okay, after having decided this, we come to the main body. Main body of the essay will always have the introduction and the conclusion. No, sorry, not the main body, the body of the essay. This is like the framework. Okay, I always advise you to make small points or hints before writing down anything. Introduction has to be longer than the conclusion, क्योंकि towards the end of the subject आपके पास कहने के लिए कम रहना चाहिए. You should not have much to say towards the end. So conclusion is always shorter than your introduction. The introduction will paraphrase the topic or explain the topic, why you're writing about it, what you're writing about, why you're writing about it. That would all be included in the introduction. Then you come to the main body. You can have, causes. You can have causes of the situation, the effects of the situation, what are the possible solutions or suggestions by you. You can divide these three things into one paragraph each, 2-3 paragraphs, depending upon your necessity and requirement, and then conclude. Okay? Advantages, disadvantages. They can also be given. Advantages, disadvantages. If there is a new research or study that you come up with, you want to publish that, please follow the sequence. Then we have the sequence of events. The sequence of events does not mean that there is just one big paragraph of the entire sequence, or every event is given as a separate paragraph. That would lead to number of paragraphs, somewhere around 8-9. We cannot have that. The sequence of events will have breakage in the way that whenever something of importance that changes the course of research or study has happened, then we will divide the paragraphs. Till then, one paragraph. Then the next paragraph. And then we have the conclusion. According to the various types, the genres, you will have different conclusions. Suppose causes and effects. Okay, the conclusion will border more on solutions and suggestions, but rephrasing them. You will not include anything new in the conclusion, no repetition. Okay, always end a conclusion with a quotation. We do not advise you to put a quotation about the topic in the beginning. Why? Can anybody tell me why? What are quotations?
Sayings.
Yes, words spoken by a famous personality. Now those words are what? Their personal opinions. You are telling me that whatever is your personal opinion is also personal opinion of a famous person, of such and such person. But still it is a personal opinion. But you can begin with a research survey from there, a line from the research survey or an established proverb maybe. You can begin your composition from such things which provide as evidence, empirical proof to what your study has been. Towards the end, you can say that this is corroborated. What I feel is even corroborated by such and such person. Then is the time then you can leave a quotation here and leave very impressive quotation by somebody very famous. Why? Because that is going to be retained towards the end by the reader. Mostly. So it also end very emphatically, boldly and impressively. That does not mean your beginning can be weak. If your beginning is weak, I am not going to read it. Do not include quotations in between the main body. नहीं. यहाँ पे सिर्फ आपका होना चाहिए material. If you are putting down so many of quotations within the main body, then what is of your own origin? What is of your own consequence? What is your own here? You might as well be charged by for plagiarism. You know that. and people might even feel that ये तो दूसरों के opinions को highlight कर जा रहा है, हमारे अपने बारे में तो कुछ लिखा नहीं है. This I already know. This I already know. What is new here? Getting me? So not too much of quotations is also good. Placement of quotations is also very important. There are advantages and disadvantages. Again, then you will conclude as to what you feel is your personal opinion. Whether certain phenomena is more advantageous or more harmful. That you can, delve in 2 or 3 lines towards the conclusion. Sequence of events, you just have to end. This sequence of events led to this result, led to this consequence, and that is it. Okay, that is how you write essays. Fine, majorly I dealt with. Any more questions or queries? No?
Thank you, ma'am.